Well, good afternoon. This is Terry with What Moves You Reads. I am here with Chicago author Darrin Lowery. Please say hi to the people.
Hey, how you going, everybody? How's it going?
Darrin Lowery wrote a magnificent manifesto, I think, to the value of women called 100 Reasons I Miss Having a Wife. And I asked him if he'd be willing to share some of his insights with us here on What Moves You Reads, and he agreed. So I want to thank you, Darrin, for being willing to do that. And
Thank you, fam.
thank you. And the first thing I want to do is give you an opportunity to talk about your connection to Chicago. I mean, you're the Chicago author, and you
Right.
mentioned some things about the city that we outsiders might not understand. Can you talk about that some?
Sure. Chicago is a wonderful city. We're known as the second city. We have a lot of wonderful things here, from our architecture to our food, to a lot of dynamic people that have come here. Mae Jemison came out of here, a lot of actors. But I think Chicago gets a bad rap because of the focus is on the crime. The media puts a lot of attention on the crime when, in fact, there are only maybe 5 to 7 really, really bad neighborhoods. And those neighborhoods have been disenfranchised. You've got socioeconomic issues, and then you've got gentrification, which contributes to why these neighborhoods are as bad as they are.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you've got the relationship with the police, which needs to improve nationwide. But Chicago gets a bad rap, and there are a lot of people that speak about Chicago that aren't from Chicago and don't necessarily understand what it is that we're going through. It's still an amazing thing.
Right.
And I think we Olympic bid because of the perception of the city, but we've got the Magnificent Mile, shopping. Again, I can't speak enough about the architecture, the Chicago Fire. It's a place full of history, culture, and we're very diverse. So it's a beautiful city. It's my city. I love my city.
I appreciate you shouting out Chicago that way. We know at least one great thing is coming out of there because you're writing there and you're producing very much material there. So we appreciate that. You know what I forgot to ask about before? You are also a collector of, I think it's Marvel. I see it in the background.
Yeah.
Please talk about
Marvel and DC action figures. I had a very interesting upbringing. There were a lot of things that I didn't have as a child. And at one point, I was homeless. And when I got on my feet, I went from a GED to now working on a PhD. But I wanted everything that I never had as a child. And I wish if I had it connected to my phone, I could do it 360. But I have, Jesus.
lots.
Yeah. Maybe 4,000 Marvel figures, another 4,000 DC, Game of Thrones. And these are all collectibles. And this is all in my home office. So this gives me peace. This is where I write from.
Yes.
And I love everything in here. And something that a lot of people give me flack for, especially some women, is that it looks like a big toy room, but all of these items are appreciated value. So hopefully when I pass, my family won't just give it to a toy store or something. They'll actually catalog it and look at everything.
Yes.
But I have a lot of friends, when they come over, they want to show their female counterparts my office. And I'm like, no. And then they'll come in and they'll see the office. And a lot of times a woman will say, you know what, this is too much. It's just too much. And it's my man cave. It's really remarkable if you saw it. You know,
I can appreciate a lot of people, you know, when you lack that kind of background, that type of struggling experience, you can't necessarily appreciate how important it is that once you get to a certain place in life, you can get for yourself things that you wanted that you couldn't have before. So I can appreciate that. But let's get into the book, though. I picked out some of my favorite reasons why you missed being married. And I hope we can talk about them for just a little bit. And then you can throw in some additional 2 cents about some of your favorites, if you like. Okay, so let's start with number 33. Damn, my man is fine. Talk about your inspiration for this particular reason. How did your now ex-wife provide some spark in your life through this kind of experience?
Well, what's interesting is when we meet, in my opinion, when we meet women, guys, we think we can dress. We think we've got style.
Mm-hmm.
And something my ex-wife used to tell me all the time is that she didn't really care for my style of dress. So I'm like, you're kidding, right? I got you. And she's like, well, you know, yeah, you got me, but, you know, there's some room for improvement there. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? She said, from everything, from ironing your shirts to putting things together. She used the term called monochromatic, where I would wear maybe gray khakis and a gray shirt, and she's like, okay, that's too much gray or that's too much brown. And she would switch it up a little bit, and she actually taught me a little bit about dressing or whatever. And when she would give me a compliment, it went just that much farther, because there were times where I would try to get dressed without her picking everything out. And if she gave me a compliment, I knew I did well. And it's very interesting the way that women style their men. Funny story, working work.
Go on.
There were these women that I guess they had noticed me before, and we were all in cubicles so I could hear them. And one woman was like, "You're on today?" And the other woman was like, "Yeah, what's the big deal?" She's like, "Girl, he's got a woman now." Well, how can you tell? It's like the way that shirt is ironed and the way that outfit is put together, a woman did that. And, I was laughing, and in my mind, I'm thinking, I couldn't have put this together myself. And I think she was right. I really do. And it's something about you all leave your mark with us. And it's really, really amazing. And when we get that compliment from you all, it's just that much more special. It just really is. I mean, it's one thing for other women to say, oh, he looks handsome or whatever. When your woman comes in, it's like, man, my man, it's fine. Sometimes we blush and it's like, girl, go ahead with that, But it's an amazing feeling.
That's a part of the value of this book, I think, is that you're willing to be totally upfront and honest about the value that women bring to the relationship. I think that conversation about value that women bring to relationships is easily lost now. Something that simple, like having a shirt ironed a certain way. I mean, it matters.
And you wouldn't think so. And I think it's because we're not observant. Because I know how to iron, and my grandmother taught me how to iron, but there's something about when she ironed, it can be crisp, and it's like, babe, how did you do this? And people can honestly tell to this day when a woman or I'm with a significant other, how they've ironed versus how when I do it.
Yes. All right, let's get to number 54, having someone to put stuff together. How are we useful in that particular instance? I thought you guys were the handymen.
No. You know what? We should be, and I'm embarrassed to say I'm not a handyman. I mean, I can figure it out, but I'm not a handyman. I'm not even good with cars. My ex-wife would put together stuff from IKEA. I can't stand putting together anything, but she would do that. And if we bought bookshelves, she would put it together. And I'm sorry to say, even if something went wrong with the car, I mean, she grew up with the brothers and her dad. She could do like an oil change the filter. She could fix the car. And I was like, Jesus, I can't do any of that. And I've worked over the years because I have a AAA membership. If my car stops, I'm calling AAA or I'm going to buy a new car. And it's really just as simple. She can change a flat. I've never changed a flat in my life.
And quite frankly, it's okay to not be the stereotypical handyman. I don't see why people feel the need to fit all men into that same category. And in a relationship, we really want to complement each other. So if you cannot fix the car and she can, and there's something that she cannot do that you can do, then that still works. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but you got this stereotype because we both cook. But like there's a story in the book about the house. When we bought our first house, I tried my bit with the handyman thing. I went and bought like the belt, the tool belt, the goggles. I mean, I really looked like I was going to do something, right? And then she told me she wanted shutters up. I was like, baby, I got this. So I went to put the shutters up. And fortunately, next door to me was a construction worker. And I'm getting the shutters up, but the drill is getting extremely hot. And the construction worker's like, sir, those are mortar bits, aren't they? I was like, excuse me. He was like, mortar bits. That's what you drill through brick. You don't use. And I was like, oh, that's why they going so bad. I got the shutters up though, in my defense.
Yes.
But there are special bits for concrete. I had no idea.
How about that?
And she knew that, but and she came out and she kind of looked at me with her hands. She was like, you didn't use mortar bits. I was like, you know about this too? So she was just remarkable in that regard. She could put anything together.
Thank you. I appreciate you complimenting her. I appreciate it. So at number 74, we go from ironing shirts to wearing shirts. Now, a lot of guys like this. You like for your ladies to wear your shirts.
Well, for me, it's a two-way street. My wife is top heavy, and I'm a T-shirt fanatic. When I say that, I have about as many T-shirts as I have action figures. So I love special novelty shirts and things of that nature. but she's top heavy, and I would hate it when she wear my shirts because they wouldn't quite fit right, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So, but when she'd be gone, or she'd come back, or after a while, you know, you see her in your shirt, it's like, wow, that is kind of sexy, that is kind of sexy. Or if I'm away and out of town, you know, we had to use Skype and other programs then, but
Mm-hmm.
tell me I got in your shirt. It's like, well, why do you have on my shirt? It's like, this has got your cologne, it's got your scent, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, wow, okay, I can feel that now. So, you know,
Yeah.
I've learned to be a lot less selfish now because of that.
Okay. And finally, having a wife is good because the wives do not buy into drama. Contrary to popular opinion, wives
Yeah,
can be quite the investigators. Talk about that a little bit.
yeah. Well, first off, you all are women are the greatest detectives. They're
Mhm.
just not going to miss a thing, and women's intuition is just a scary phenomenon. It's there for any guys watching this. It exists. It exists on a level we don't even understand. But one thing I loved about her is she never bought into the drama, and she would investigate things first.
Mhm.
And it's amazing how when you're doing well, people will try and tear you down or interject into your relationship, and that is something she just never went into. A good example was she had a friend who was into me,
Mhm.
and I shut this woman down. And as a caveat to any men out there, or actually to any women out there, if
Mhm.
there is tension or friction between a good friend of yours or a friend of yours, I'm sorry, a friend of yours, of your best friend and your husband and or significant other, it may be that your husband and or boyfriend has shut that woman down and she is
Mhm.
scorned,
Mhm.
which was actually the case. And we didn't talk about it until long after our marriage was over. But one of her friends was coming at me all the time. And it's like, yo, I love my wife. I'm not going to do that.
Mhm.
But this same person had said that I was out somewhere with another woman doing something on this particular date or whatever. And in actuality, I think I went out for maybe a half hour, but I came back home because I wasn't feeling well. And
Mhm.
rather than jump right into it or jump to conclusions or whatever, my wife was like, "Well, I know where Darrin was. He was here,
Mhm.
you know." And a lot of other people would have been they would have listened first or they would have reacted first. She
Mhm.
wasn't that type of woman. She would look into it first. And there were times where when I would not account for my whereabouts, but a lot of times that would be because I was out buying a gift or I was
Mhm.
working on a surprise. If there were things that she wanted, and this was one of the wonderful things about when we were married, she get it. Now she might not get it tomorrow, but she
Mhm.
get it. In fact, there was one September. She called me just out of the blue from work. She said, "Baby, I want a new house." And we had a 3-bedroom ranch in Calumet City, Illinois,
Mhm.
and I listened to her for a while on the phone. I was like, "Okay, babe." And she knew that I was going to get that house.
Mhm.
It wasn't going to. But sometimes, when you tell a man something, I'm putting the pieces in place, and I did a lot of work, and she would investigate things before jumping off the deep end. One of the most interesting stories is a friend of mine. She was working. She'd been working her the job for 31 years. She's 11 years older than
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
And I got news from another friend that she was going to get laid off. And she didn't believe that. So I went back to school to get my master's to increase my marketability. And then I started saving money. And then I started putting pieces in place. And it looked like I was always busy. And sometimes when a man says he's busy, some women may jump to the conclusion that, there's another woman or whatever. And
Mhm.
she would just fall wait and investigate. But when grades came out, I'm showing her my grades. Hey, baby, this is what I'm doing. I'm
Mhm.
doing my internship. I'll be here. And because we had that open communication, she
Mhm.
didn't have to. So it,
There are
it really,
a million
really,
important things you said there. A million important things that relate to the differences in the sexes in terms of how we deal with different types of stress and different types of family needs. I mean, you emphasized there that when she said she wanted something, you were working on it. You may have looked like you were busily engrossed in other things, but those things lent themselves to you providing what you felt she needed. And I think that that's important to
yes,
say as well, that there just needs to be sometimes an understanding of the different ways that we handle things.
definitely. And how we care for one another. There's so many different communication gaps, which is why I'm glad we're having this talk. And I want to have so many more. But we
Mhm.
need to promote more dialogue between men and women and the sexes because I know there are times it looks as if we're trying to buy your affection, and it's really not it. Something I wish the women understood. and I know it's not all women, so I don't want to make a blanket statement, is when we go buy you that special whatever, and when we spend our money, it's not trying to purchase your affection. We've worked hard for this money, and it's like an extension of us, and we want to give to you.
Yes.
And a lot of women don't get that. Oh, you're trying to buy me. Oh, no, I'm trying to do something nice. I actually had a fairly negative experience where, and she would kill me about this, but anyway.
Well, don't tell it. Don't tell it.
It's not real bad, but it's not real bad.
All right.
We still argue about this to this day.
Okay.
She picked up a purse, and we were out shopping, and she looked at it for a long time. I assumed she wanted that purse. And I kept it in my mentals or whatever, and her birthday wasn't until September. September comes, she gets the purse. She didn't really want the purse. Like, she looked at it for a long time, she liked it, but I guess she decided she didn't want it, and she put it down. I bought the purse, okay, she wanted it, and she's like, yeah, I looked at it for a long time, but I put it back because I wasn't feeling it. And I'm just like, oh my God. And we still argue about that to this day.
But you still got points for remembering, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. But you really didn't want it, so it's like, okay.
I am going to show the cover of your book, Over 100 Reasons Why I Miss Having a Wife. And this can be purchased on Kindle. How much is it on Kindle?
It should be between 99 cents and $1.99, I believe.
Okay, so hey, this is not an expensive gift for people to give to significant others. This is not an expensive book to buy, just to read a man's perspective on how women can be an asset and not a deterrent in life. It's unfortunate that, that particular relationship ended in divorce, but it sounds like the two of you are still very amicable and still very friendly.
Yes, very, very much so. In fact, she's since we married, and I'm engaged to be married.
Okay, so life has gone on. However, neither of you has lost your appreciation for the opposite sex and for the marital relationship. And I think that's important for our community to understand that there's still value in that.
Definitely.
Okay, so we'll be talking again soon, I hope. You got some big projects coming up that you can't discuss right now, but maybe we'll see a lot more of you very soon.
Definitely. And I look forward to more conversations, and we need more dialogue between the sexes.
Amen. Let's do this again.
Definitely. Appreciate you for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.